respected dignitaries, illuminaries of academia, distinguished scholars, doctoral fellows, and all the aspirers of knowledge. I, Kriti Tripathi, welcome all of you in this inaugural session of International Conference of Integral Humanism, Perspectives of Deendayal Upadhyay and Jacques Maritain, organized by India Foundation, New Delhi, in association with Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Faculty of Social Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, and supported by Indian Council for Social Science Research. Before I finally begin the program, I would request all the respected dignitaries to please come on the dais. I request Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, Chairman, National Educational Technology Forum, Dr. Madhav ji, President, India Foundation, New Delhi, and Professor Pratap Singh, Coordinator, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, to come on the stage so that the session could formally begin. Give a big round of applause. I must say that this session is going to set the stage for the 2 days of intellectual churning, going to be adorned by thought-provoking addresses, exquisitive deliberations, and active participations. Now, moving towards the formalities of the program, I would request our dignitaries to kindly pay floral tribute to Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji, founder of this university, and Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji. I request students to assist our dignitaries. Natvaham kamaye rajyam, naswargam na punarbhavam, kamaye dukh taptanam pranina martinashar. I do not for a royal realm aspire, for a release or for a paradise. To serve those bent with grief I desire, and calm their sorrows and help them rise. These are the values of Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji and Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji. At the same time, I also request our dignitaries to do the lighting of lamp. Students, you're requested to assist our dignitaries. Deep Jyoti Param Brahma, Deep Jyoti Janardana, Deepo Haratu Me Papam, Deepah Jyotir Namostute. It is said that knowledge is the ultimate life, and knowledge is the ultimate guide. Please give a big round of applause while our dignitaries doing the formal things of this program. Photos are being captured because they are the only things that make our memories manifested. Thank you so much, all our dignitaries. Now moving ahead. We all know that Banaras Hindu University is proud of its tradition. Foremost of our tradition is Kulgi. I would like to inform all the respected guests here that any program in Banaras Hindu University is started with Kulgi. It is not just the tradition of this university, but it is the resonance of values and ideas on which this capital of knowledge has been built upon. The Kulgeet of this university has been penned down by great scientist Dr. Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar and set to tune by great musician Pandit Omkar Nath Thakur. With this, I request students of Mausiki Music Club to come forward on the stage. The students of the Mausiki Music Club who are going to present the Kulgeet are Ankit Anand, Prince Verma, Vaishnavi Singh, Abhijit, Soumya Singh, Soumya Pandey, and Shantanu ji will assist on tabla and Shivam Tripathi will assist on harmonium. I also request to all of you present here that after Kulgeet, please do not clap. I repeat, please do not clap after Kulgeet, because Kulgeet for Banaras Hindu University means prayer, and we do not clap after prayer. Please give a big round of applause for the chair of the session, Professor Arun Kumar Singh, Registrar, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. Now, over to the students of Mosiki Music Club for the presentation of Kulgeet.
साहस ये उनकी शक्ति प्रकट
Thank you so much, the students of Mosiki Music Club. We live in India, where the guest is treated as God, or we say, Atithi Devo Bhava. It is said that presence of our guests is considered fortune and matter of our pride. For this, we are very grateful to all of our dignitaries that they have come here, and for this, we would like to facilitate them. First of all, I would like to invite Professor Binda D. Paranjape to felicitate Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, Chairman, National Education Technology Forum. Give a big round of applause. With the bunch of bouquet, ma'am is felicitating sir. And with Angavastram, ma'am is reminding sir the rich tradition of Varanasi, the rich tradition of weaving heritage of Varanasi, which is the token of warmth of love and warmth of respect. And this is the memento of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay. Now, I would like to invite Professor Amarnath Mohanty to felicitate Dr. Ram Madhavji, President, India Foundation, New Delhi. Again, give a big round of applause. The smells of flower are going to be the reminiscent of this wonderful seminar. And the pictures are going to prove this. Thank you so much, sir. This is the memento of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Ji. Moving ahead, I would now like to invite Professor S.B. Singh to felicitate Chair of the session, Professor Arun Kumar Singh, Registrar, Banaras Hindu University. Again, give a big round of applause. Now the Angvastram is being presented. This is the token of gratitude, token of respect, and token of saying thanks to the knowledge that the dignitaries are going to share with us. Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to invite Dr. Neeti Meena to felicitate Professor Tej Pratap Singh, Coordinator, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Faculty of Social Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, we are moving to the formal processions of this program. And in this respect, I request Professor Tej Pratap Singh, Coordinator, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Faculty of Social Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, to present welcome address to this session. Professor Tej Pratap Singh.
First of all, I extend warm welcome to the person who has conceptualized the whole program. In fact, the idea came from him, Sri Dr. Ram Madhavji, President India Foundation. It is because of him we all are here. I met him once and I requested him, sir, you deliver a lecture on Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Ji, because recently I was given the responsibility of this chair. And I was surprised to know from him that he has done his PhD on integral humanism. So immediately he agreed to my request with his suggestion. And that suggestion was more tempting. The suggestion was, yes, I can deliver the lecture, but personally I will suggest you, don't go for a lecture. We will go for a workshop or we'll go for a conference. That will be the better thing. So immediately I accepted his suggestion. I said, okay, sir. And then it was decided that Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Banaras Hindu University, and India Foundation, the think tank, the well-known think tank of this country, will jointly organize an international conference. And then again, the credit goes to Ram Madhavji to bringing another personality, Dr. Jacques Maritain. We were not much knowing about him. And he told me that the ideas of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay and Jacques Maritain are very similar. So why not we should go for a comparison of the ideas, the convergence and divergence and the similarities, etc. Because he told me that their ideas are similar. Integral humanism is similar. Only context is different. One has written in the European context, another has written in Indian context. And one was concerned with the Catholic Christian values, another was guided by Sanatan Dharma values. Then again, both were concerned about the rising tendency, the rising influence of materialism. So they wanted to bring spiritualism in the material life. So their ideas were so similar. And there is another similarity, that on the basis of the ideas of the Jacques Maritain, the Christian democratic parties have been formed in different European countries. They are in the government also. I can recall probably Angela Merkel was from Christian Democratic Party. In Germany, she ruled for a very pretty long time. And there are other countries also where this Christian Democratic parties are there. And European Parliament is dominated by the Christian Democratic parties of Europe. So in the similar way, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay's integral humanism constitute the philosophy, the basis, the ideology of Bharatiya Janasangh, and later on the same Bharatiya Janasangh was transformed into Bharatiya Janata Party. So even the consequences, the implication, etc. of both these ideas were the same. But even then, the context is different, and in the different context, the things becomes different. Both were concerned with the poor. Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay talks about the Antodaya, Sarvodaya, etc. He also is concerned about the poor. So many similarities are there. So he suggested that we will have a conference where the perspective of both the great thinkers, great scholars will be discussed, will be deliberated here. So thank you, sir, so much for suggesting this topic, wonderful topic. And we, large number of students of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, at least now we are familiar with the writings and of Jacques Maritain also. So we extend warm welcome to you, sir, on behalf of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Banaras Hindu University, on behalf of my Faculty of Social Sciences, and on behalf of my university, Banaras Hindu University. So hearty welcome to you, sir. The next speaker who will be delivering the inaugural address, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe ji. He is a well-known person, doesn't need any introductions, etc. He has headed many administrative bodies, particularly related to the science field. Couple of months back, he was the chairman of All India Technical Education. Right now, he is heading associated with National Accreditation Council, National Bureau of Accreditations, and then Technology Forum, etc. So if there is any question of technology issue is there, so Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe has to be invariably there. He is always there. And his contribution to the field of science and technology is immense. He can be compared with Abul Kalam Azad. And even the person who composed our Kulgeet, Bhatnagar Sahab, he belongs to that category, even in scientist, and also, and so, sir, on behalf of my university, on behalf of my faculty, and on behalf of the Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, sir, I will extend warm welcome to you. I'm also welcoming, though he is a host, part of our family, Professor Arun Kumar Singh. He is a distinguished geographer, well known. His contribution in the field of geography is known to everyone. And he is a registrar of our university, holding a very important administrative positions. And he was so busy with his work, preoccupied, I requested him, sir, you have to chair this session. And despite being terribly busy with many administrative work, because the Banaras Hindu University, who has 3,000 faculty members, 4,000 non-teaching, around 9,000 people are working here. Forget about the students. If we include the students also, the figure becomes 50,000 here. So this large institution, he is a registrar of this university, so we can imagine his administrative responsibility. But even then, he accepted my request and came over here. So on behalf of this university, he is a part of our university, but even then, despite being the part of the family, I extend warm welcome to you, sir. Now, Ram Madhavji is very particular about the timing of this thing. India Foundation kept on saying this thing, that program has to start sharp 3, even not 1 second here and there. So keeping many things in mind, I will stop myself here with this warm welcome, and I will be failing in my duty if I'm not extending warm welcome to all those students who have come over here on my request. So extending warm welcome to all my dear students. It is because of them any program is successful here. Again, I will also welcome all the delegates who have come from here. Very eminent personalities have come over here. Former Vice Chancellor of Kerala Central University, Professor Gopa Kumar is there. Sir, I welcome you here. Professor R.C. Sinha ji, who has been heading the chairman of the Indian Philosophical Research, Professor Sanjay Jha, he has been the registrar, he has been the finance officer, he is the head of the security studies, as well as professor of international relations from Central University, Gujarat. My own friend, Professor Manoj Mishra, my own dean, Professor Binda Pranjpeji. In fact, she is just immediate boss of my chair. So for every work I have to report to Madam Binda Pranjpeji. So I extend warm welcome to you. Professor R.P. Pathak ji, he is a former head and former dean, and he also always encourages me to do all things here. So whenever I request sir, so sir always blesses me with his gracious presence here. Warm welcome to you, sir, Professor R.P. Pathak ji. My own Bhai Bhai Sahab, Ramashish ji Bhai Sahab, he is now राष्ट्रीय टोली के सदस्य हैं प्रज्ञा प्रवाह के. अभी कुछ दिन पहले तक वो हमारे क्षेत्रीय संयोजक थे उत्तर प्रदेश, बिहार और झारखंड के. तो मैं माननीय रामाशीष जी भाई साहब का स्वागत करता हूँ यहाँ. Two foreign delegates, Vishnu and sir. Yeah, it's a difficult for us to pronounce. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize for that. So, sir, warm welcome to both of you. And we are just looking forward to your presentation here on Jacques Maritain. Dean, Faculty of Commerce, Professor H.K. Singh, sir. So he is a Dean, Faculty of Faculty of Commerce, and very senior professor here. He is also known for his contribution in the field of commerce, economics. So warm welcome you, sir. And Professor Chandrakala Upadhyay, she has been my boss, she has been my head, she has been my dean. In various capacities she is there. So we started our career during when Madam was the dean and Madam was the head. So warm welcome to you, Madam. And all the, my head of the department, he always loves to be in the back seat. I requested him to come and take front seat, but it is his nature. He always insisted I will be sitting behind here. So warm welcome to our own head of the department, Amarnath Mohanty ji, our own colleague, Lalji Pal, Abhay, all the faculty members, So it's difficult to take name of everyone. So now just because of the constraint of the time, kindly forgive me if any name has been left out. So warm welcome to one and all. So now over to Kirti.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful welcome address, which made everyone feel that everyone belongs to you and belongs to this chair and belongs to this university. Thank you so much, sir. Now, moving ahead, I would like to invite Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe for the inaugural address. With a big round of applause. Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe.
Sabhi ko namaskar. Good afternoon to everyone. A very interesting conference of 2 days being organized here in the portals of Banaras Hindu University. My tributes, first of all, to the founder, Madan Mohan Malviya ji, and also one of the greatest thinkers on humanism, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji. And this conference being organized in a university which has all the ethos of what Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji as well as Madan Mohan Malviya ji visioned, and that has been practiced in that particular hall we are meeting. That's why it's very elated to be here. Dr. Ram Madhav ji, we have been reading about several things from you. But there is a commonality between you and me is that both are engineering graduates to start with. But subsequently, he went into more on integral humanism. I have a superficial knowledge, but still he has called me to inaugurate this conference. I'm thankful to you. And also the India Foundation for doing this job for me. We have Professor T.P. Singh, who is also occupying the chair, which is in the name of the same person about whom we are going to discuss for the next 2 days. So that is also very, very important. Dr. Arun Kumar Singh ji, the registrar, who is handling such a large universities here, and I'm not going to name people in the audience, very eminent academicians, those who have achieved excellence in their respective domains, they are all there, who have studied both Malviya as well as Pandit Madan Mohan Pandit ji, Deendayal Upadhyay ji. Therefore, I will move on from there that I'm very pleased to be here, and few concepts just I would like to raise issues so that we will discuss about that. This conference in particular is about comparison between the integral humanism as pronounced or pronunciated by Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay and that of Jacques Maritain. I hope that's the correct pronunciation in French. And we need to understand the context in which both of them did it. In the European context, naturally, the challenges that existed there post-industrial revolution, there were a lot of problems for the humanity due to formation of the industries, and thereby there were challenges faced economically, socially amongst people, and also the person himself started his journey as a Protestant scienticism to later Catholicism, both philosophical aspects on one side and the religious aspects on the other side, both were wedded together when he talked about what is known as integral humanism of his, which finally culminated into what we call as international human rights. And that is one concept. Whereas in our context, in Bharatiya Parampara, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, in fact, very name, there are all the contributes which are required for the integral humanism are embedded in that. He is a Pandit, a Vidwan, a knowledgeable person. He is Upadhyay, that means he is also a guru, teacher, doing that. And in between is Deendayal. In our Hindi language, जो दीनों का सहारा करने वाला दयालु आदमी जो हो सकता है, उनके नाम में ही पिताजी ने, माता पिता ने जो इसको नाम रखा है, तो शायद इससे ज़्यादा अच्छा और हो ही कह सकता है. तो दीनदयाल जी नेचुरल thinker, philosopher. He thought about it quite deep into this whole aspect. Our Sanskriti, which is embedded in our Vedas, Upanishads, Vedangas, Puranas, if you take, including Ramayana and Mahabharata, the sum and substance of all of that is nothing but integral humanism. We have, we say Seva Paramo Dharma. So we say that Seva is the best dharma which we have to follow. So he is having that dharmic tradition also embedded into it. And then he looked at the poverty that existed. How do we lift everyone? And that's why the concept of what we call Antyodaya, the last man on the street, last man in the remotest possible village, last woman in the remotest village. How can we serve those people? That was the philosophy which was very, very relevant of the times. And in the post-independence era, if there is one political thought which has gained momentum, is thanks to Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Ji, whose integral humanism and Antyodaya has been followed as a political philosophy by initially in 1965 onwards by Jansangh, and subsequently when it was dissolved and the new party BJP came into existence, they are continuing it. And similarly, on the other side, Jacques Maritain's the philosophy is also taken up by some of the nations of the world in terms of Christian democratic countries. So both have lots of parallels, but I am seeing some salient differences too in terms of that. One of the differences is the Jacques was looking at the problems and challenges which the people were facing over there, and that's why more inclination was, in my opinion, towards the rights of the individuals. And that's why it led to international human rights. Whereas in our philosophy, we always treat every individual in Advaita philosophy as all having same divinity. Everyone has the same God residing in them. And that's why the four parts actually, the body, mind, intellect, and the soul. All of these are maybe looking different, that diversity may be existing in the outward form, especially in the body form. But when you go deeper and deeper at the soul level, they are all at one level. And that philosophy itself has to be looked at. And therefore, looking at other individuals as equals, that's why dignity of labor, dignity of individual. This is, in fact, so natural to Indian philosophy and Indian school of thought that forget about integral humanism and humanity, or the human people on whom this entire philosophy was vested or rested, but we also go a step beyond in terms of looking at all the animals, and therefore ahimsa. Ahimsa is also one of the fundamental things which we talk about. We don't kill animals just like that. That is where our philosophy also continues with not animals alone, but goes beyond to plants. And when J.C. Bose first time said that plants have also got not just life, but they have feelings, people of the whole world laughed at him. But subsequently, it is now proven scientifically that they have feelings. I think, therefore, in our Indian ethos and philosophy, we not only respect the other human being, but also the animals, also the plants, but not just even the plants, inanimate objects like rivers and mountains. I don't think any other religion talks about praying to the rivers. माँ गंगा तो यहाँ है, उसका prayer करते हैं, पहाड़ों को हम prayer करते हैं. So I think if today United Nations talks about sustainable development goals or sustainability, the true sustainability is already embedded in Sanatana Dharma. And what Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Ji brought out before us was nothing but the capsule form of the entire knowledge that already existed in our various literature. And that is why whatever he thought about was to improve the lot of the people, therefore the Antyodaya, the last man on the street. And that philosophy has been continued even to this day by the current government in the last 10 years. If you look at some of the provisions that are made. You know, people laughed at sometimes that from the Independence Day speech, the Prime Minister talks about toilets in all the schools. But imagine the girl children's enrollment in the schools and colleges has improved. And today in the higher education sector, where we were cribbing that women's participation is less, today it has crossed 50%, more than 50%. In fact, female are more in number in higher education than men nowhere in the world. Probably one of the aspects for me, a simple thing like providing that facility which was not existing in the schools and colleges. Whether it is in terms of the Ujjwala Yojana of providing the cylinders, gas cylinders, thereby you don't have to go into the forest to fetch the wood and then cook meal. It is also making the life of a woman easy at the remotest place. Electricity in all the villages. Now we are also talking about internet to all the villages. Half the villages are nearly covered, remaining half are being covered in the next couple of years. Then next comes the piped water. Women used to go miles together to get a bucket of water for the livelihood. I think how can we make the lives of the people easy, smooth? And that is what was pronunciated by Dr. Deendayal Upadhyay in his philosophy of integral humanism. And therefore, today we are at a right stage of some of the things which he pronounced are being implemented. Some more things are yet to do, but we are certainly happy that we are in the right direction. Dr. Madhav, so your whole thesis itself is on that. So I will not be able to speak much on any of those aspects, but nevertheless, what we can do also in terms of education is important. In the last 3 years, we have been observing that the national education policy, Rashtriya Shiksha Niti, which came into existence just about 3.5 years ago, we are all fully implementing that. But look at the first paragraph of the policy itself. It talks about all the things which are relevant to what Dr. Deendayal Upadhyay gave us. It talks about holistic development of all human beings. Through what? Through education. So education is fundamental to create human beings which are all-rounded, who are holistic, and at the same time, they will not only take care of their own life, their families, the society at large around whom they will all be getting help and support, but the nation and ultimately the entire planet. And that's why the sustainability which I talked about is also very important in education sector, which is all told in the national education policy. So it is nothing but, in a way, Dr. Kasturi Rangan has redrafted integral humanism in a different context. This is what I feel like. And each paragraph when you read, वो रोमांच लगता है कि हमारे देश से ये सब चीज़ें होने वाली थी, हो रही थी, और क्यों हमने रास्ते से भटक गए थे, क्योंकि we all remember the Machiavellian education which came here in the 1835 spoilt all that what wisdom we had gained. Today also we all have internet, we have all the support system which is available, but most of that is still in the form of information. And if this information is to be converted into knowledge, you require teachers, you require gurus to convert that knowledge into wisdom, and that wisdom, if it has to be converted into lokopayog, that means for the welfare of the people, you require integral humanism. I think that is why I'm connecting information to knowledge, to wisdom, to application of that knowledge for the well-being of the entire people, set of people, humanity itself. And that's why sometimes, many a times people talk about some name change, etc. happening is very symbolic and all that. I would like to mention 2 names which are changed. We are all aware of 7 Racecourse Road, which was changed to Lok Kalyan Marg. Lok Kalyan Marg is nothing but integral humanism. The very philosophy, it's not just in the name. The ethos of that will automatically come into the person who is residing there. That my whole job is Lok Sevak, Pradhan Sevak, not Pradhan Mantri. That concept also will come out of the integral humanism. Then Rajpath being changed into Kartavya Path. It is the duty. I'm not enjoying power, but I'm actually contributing to the welfare of the people, and that is my Kartavya, that is my duty, that is my work that I have to do. I think these are all concepts which come out of one side theoretical, what we say conceptualization, but on the other side, by true implementation with heart and spirit into it, we really make it really happen. And that's why many a times we say that a lot of theory will be there in our scriptures. Unless that is brought into practice, there is no use of that. And it has to be लोकोपयोगी होनी चाहिए. तो इसलिए भारत में even in the national education policy, there is a mention of two important things along with this. One is Indian knowledge systems. भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को हमको आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए. और हमारा इतना बड़ा ज्ञान था, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथमेटिक्स, बायोलॉजी से लेकर इंजीनियरिंग तक, आर्किटेक्चर से लेकर मेडिसिन और योग और आयुर्वेद तक, सारे नॉलेज फील्ड्स हमारे देश से निर्माण होके, और हमारे यहाँ की तक्षशिला नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी में लोग आते थे सीखने के लिए. आज हम दौड़ते हैं अमेरिका और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के तरफ, लेकिन एक ज़माने में यहाँ आते थे. तो वो सब चीज़ें दोबारा होना है, और यदि सही ढंग से हमारा इंटीग्रल ह्यूमनिज्म चलना है तो हमारी शिक्षा नीति में परिवर्तन बहुत ज़रूरी था, वो भी हो रहा है. और उसके अलावा जो दूसरी चीज़ इसमें कही गई है वो है वैल्यू बेस्ड एजुकेशन. तो ये वैल्यूज़ आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू लुक एट any of the corporates, they all look at people with values. They all look for people who are embedded with devotion, with qualities of honesty, integrity, and those values which were there predominantly available in our system, which were taken in by the shishas from the gurus. We will have to reinvent all of that. May not be in the same context, in the same forest जाके गुरुकुल में रहने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. कुछ गुरुकुल भी होंगे, लेकिन अपने अपने कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी में सारे टीचर्स का रोल क्या होना चाहिए, इसके बारे में भी, टीचर एजुकेशन के बारे में भी कहा गया है. और मेरे ख्याल से मालवीय मिशन टीचिंग ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स 111 यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में एस्टेब्लिश किए हैं, सो दैट द रोल ऑफ टीचर्स विल बिकम एमिनेंट एंड इम्पॉर्टेंट. आई थिंक ये सब चीज़ कहते समय जो पंडित मदन मोहन मालवीय, उनके नाम से ही वो सेंटर्स निर्माण किए गए हैं, लेकिन हमारे उपाध्याय जी का भी हमको ध्यान करते हुए उसको इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहिए. ऐसे कहते हुए ये 5 सब थीम्स जो है वो अलग अलग थीम्स में आप सब चर्चा करेंगे. इसमें से जो निचोड़ आएगा वो हमारे चेयर प्रोफेसर टीपी सिंह जी दुनिया के सामने रखेंगे, और हमको उससे जो ज्ञान प्राप्त होगा उसका हम उपयोग करते रहेंगे. ऐसे कहते हुए मेरे 4 शब्द समाप्त करता हूँ. जय हिंद.
Thank you so much, sir, for this exquisite inaugural address of yours. At the intellectual level, sir, you have set the tone for the seminar, and at the social level, you have touched upon the issues and values which makes integral humanism need of the hour. Now, in continuation, I request Dr. Ram Madhav ji, President, India Foundation, to kindly enlighten us and also the session with the keynote address. With a big round of applause, Dr. Ram Madhav ji.
Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe ji, Dr. Arun Kumar Singh ji, Dr. Tej Pratap Singh ji, all the eminent academics, scholars, and young students present here, my namaskars to each one of you. Let me at the outset congratulate Professor T.P. Singh for, first of all, agreeing to host this conference here. There is a reason for my saying this. We all, including Professor Singh, and we all belong to a Vichar Parivar. In this Vichar Parivar, sometimes there will be a kind of an attitude to defy ideas and place them in the orbit of ideologies. Integral humanism has been somehow placed into that category of ideologies. You know, ideology is a risky proposition. Jiddu Krishnamurti ji, the renowned philosopher, had once said something very interesting. He said, see, ideology, all ideologies are idiotic, the word he used. Because ideologies confine you to a framework and make you restrict yourself to that so-called framework. So better to look at some of these concepts as ideas, viewpoints, than suddenly elevate them into, you call it a status or whatever else, of ideologies. Because, as he said, as Jiddu Krishnamurti has said, it is the ideologies that have caused enormous harm to the mankind by dividing man. So when you elevate a particular thing to the status of an ideology, then to think that somebody else also has a similar thing will become a little difficult. Not just Deendayal Upadhyay, somebody in Europe by name Jacques Maritain also spoke about it. To say that, to admit that requires a purely non-ideological, open-minded approach, academic approach. This Deendayal Upadhyay chair, heading this chair also, Professor T.P. Singh said, yes, we should do a comparative analysis of these two ideas, these two people, which is, in my view, a very good thing. I compliment him for that, for this initiative. There was one Prime Minister of Great Britain by name Harold Macmillan. People would have heard about him. He was the Prime Minister in between 1958 and 63 or something like that, 3-4 years. Somebody asked him about his vision for Great Britain. Macmillan's reply was, my friend, if you want to know the vision for Great Britain, go to a saint. I'm a politician. Another matter, that there can be very competent politicians who can give you vision for 100 years and all that. But generally, Macmillan's hint was that it's job of the saints, scholars to, actually develop a vision for the mankind. The two people that we are talking about in this conference happen to be saints. One was, Jacques Maritain was an ordained priest. As mentioned by Professor Singh earlier, he traveled from Catholicism, from Protestantism to atheism to Catholicism. But he was an ordained priest. And Deendayal Upadhyay, as very beautifully narrated by our chief guest today, he was also no less a saint. As he said, he was a Pandit also and Upadhyay also. So these two saintly people have tried to give a vision. Again, as rightly said, belonging to two different regions. The result being two slightly different final ideas, but the basis on which they developed those ideas, incidentally, happens to be a little identical. So, we were colonized. We were a colonized people. colonized people generally develop certain syndromes. One syndrome is called Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome means the colonized people, they develop some kind of a psychological bond with the colonizer. Over the period, they start thinking that actually the guy who colonized me is actually doing a lot of good to me. This is called Stockholm Syndrome. It happens mostly with those who are, these guys who were hijacked by Hamas, the Jews, the Israelis. Some of them, when they were released, they came out and said, no, we were treated very well, we were so happy, we were given good food and all that. They forget that being captive itself is a great crime against them. This is called Stockholm Syndrome. This doesn't require much explanation in our country because all the leadership we had after independence was suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. They found the Europeans who colonized us to be better masters. So they thought that everything that they probably stood for, propagated, should simply be adopted by us post-independence. This one syndrome. We had to get rid of it. That's why we talked about decolonization. But sometimes this colonization also develops another syndrome, a syndrome of extreme antipathy and very generalized antipathy. Since some Europeans came and colonized us, all Europeans are bad. So West is bad. Everything that originates in West, Paschatya, sab kharab hai. There is an amount of smugness in the sense that we are superior, they are inferior. This is the second kind of syndrome sometimes we develop as colonized people. But there is a third syndrome also, which some of our prominent leaders have demonstrated. That, okay, the colonization, that is something that that doesn't fit here, that is being imposed on us, must be rejected. But not the wholesale rejection. The true Sanatana tradition of Ano Bhadraha Kratavo Yantu Vishwatha, let noble thoughts come from every side of the world, all sides of the world, should guide us in all these situations. There were people who also looked at issues, challenges of contemporary India from that prism. Not total rejection, not blind acceptance. Now, the first name that comes to mind is of Swami Vivekananda. Someone who very extensively differentiated between the Western and Sanatana, Paschatya and Sanatana. If you listen to his speeches, everywhere you find this distinction being very prominently highlighted by him. But he was not anti-West. Very interestingly, he was in England. It was very cold, so people suggested to him that why not wear the coat and all, the Western attire, which probably keeps him warmer, his body warm. He says, all right, get me. They get him a nice coat, he wears that coat, jacket, everything he wears. Then they bring him a hat and say that, hat is better, you have this pagdi, you wear this hat. Vivekananda refuses. He says, you see, I'm ready to extend my body to the Westerners, not my head. Head will be mine. My thinking will remain, but I accept everything, every good thing that is good for my body, my physique, my entity, I accept. So, he was the one who basically talked about Western body and Eastern mind. This idea was Vivekananda's. So my point was even Gandhi, his that very famous quote, where he says, "I do not want my house to be walled in on all sides and my windows to be stuffed. मेरा दरवाजा, खिड़कियाँ सब खुला रहना चाहिए. I don't want them to be stuffed, closed. I want the culture of all lands to be blown about my house as freely as possible. अंत में ये कहते, by I refuse to be blown off my feet by any. मैं पैरों पर दृढ़ रहूंगा, but let the breeze of cultures come from all sides. Let it flow about my house freely. That openness has been the hallmark. Not what Rudyard Kipling said. हम repeatedly कहते हैं, उनका Rudyard Kipling का एक statement है, which we very fondly we quote: East is east, west is west, and the twain shall never meet. Do they never meet? Is it our experience in life? Half of our children are there in the West, studying there, learning there, living there. But we quote here, no, Kipling said. No, that has not been the approach in our country. We kept our idea space open, because as long as it is not an ideology, it is just an idea. Idea has no geography, idea has no boundary. Ideas are universal. One drop of ink has the potential to revolutionize 1 million minds. एक शाही का बिंदु 1 लाख दिमागों को, दिलों को हिला सकता है. That is the power of ideas. So ideas are universal. Today, those ideas are what need to be discussed. Today we are talking about 2 such ideas, important ideas. Both had the same name, integral humanism. Both said it is integral humanism. Both said 30 years apart. Jacques Maritain's document on integral humanism was first published in 1936. In fact, among the several famous publications of his, 2 stand out, which relate to our whole Deendayal's thesis of integral humanism. One was his thesis of, or his document about integral humanism, which he authored in 1936, and the other one, Man and State, in 1951. The relationship between the state and the man. Now you remember, Deendayal also talked extensively about this relationship, man and state. Did they meet? Did they know each other? No, we have no documentary evidence to show that. Probably, T.P. Singh Saab, if he can get into the private correspondence of Deendayal Upadhyay with others, if it existed anywhere, I haven't come across anything like that. Maybe we may get to know that Deendayal ji had some idea about Jacques Maritain, or maybe he did not have any idea. We do not know. And Jacques Maritain at that time was not so unknown also. It is true that for us he is a very new name, but he played a role in framing of the United Nations Charter on Human Rights, UNHCR, in which Gandhiji had great contribution. Hansa Mehta was there from India. Vijayalakshmi Pandit was also there. In his name, an institution was started by Notre Dame University in 1957, Jacques Maritain Institute. So he was not that unknown in the West. But हो सकता है कि क्योंकि ना इंटीग्रल शब्द बड़ा बहुत पूर्ण है ना ह्यूमनिज्म है, क्योंकि everybody talks about it. So it's quite possible that they never had any interaction with each other also. That's quite possible. But what is very fascinating is the premise on which both developed their philosophies. We know about Deendayal ji. But if you look at Jacques Maritain also, he also developed his philosophy based on same premises, like, Enlightenment era of 17th and 18th centuries had led to great proliferation of ideas in Europe. Lots of ideas started proliferating. Slowly, some of those ideas became institutionalized. French Revolution came in the end, towards the end of 18th century. French Revolution promoted certain ideas, freedom, equality, liberty, and all that. Then, over the period in 19th century, dominant totalitarian regimes came. Karl Marx came, he brought communism. All this happened just in 200 years. It was actually a great churning of ideas was happening in Europe. And when they started institutionalizing these ideas, that's when, in Europe, Catholic Church found a major challenge. The challenge was that in all these new ideas, post-French Revolution ideas, God was missing. There was no God. Everything was man. Man was all-powerful. Man can decide about his future. It was all about man and state. Whether man will be all-powerful or state will be all-powerful. To address this challenge of missing God, the Catholic philosophers came forward. They then started saying that you cannot separate man and God. They are extension of each other. Something which we need not necessarily disagree with. Our conception of God is different in India. Our God is omnipresent. It's a different conception. But the fact that man and God cannot be separated is something that we also need not really object to. That basis on which people like Jacques Maritain tried to provide an alternative thought to these totalitarian ideologies like fascism, communism, and other totalitarian regimes. Even France had a communist government in 1930s. So that response took the shape of integral humanism in Jacques Maritain's writings and articulation. What Jacques Maritain essentially said was there is something called a natural law which connects man and divine, which keeps both in the same sphere. There is a family system. There is a God. There is a natural order. You cannot destroy this natural law or go against this natural law. That was one of his major propositions. Man, family, God, natural law. These are the ideas which Deendayal also used in his integral humanist philosophy. Jacques Maritain ended his thesis in Christendom. He said that ultimately we all have to submit ourselves to the Christendom. That is the kingdom of the God. We proposed, Deendayal proposed, that no, we should submit ourselves to Dharma. There can be a lot of discussion over what we meant by Dharma. Is it also the same as the kingdom of God, or it is different? These are issues on which we can actually discuss. But the purpose of this exercise should be to understand the evolution of the whole idea of integral humanism in the West and the evolution of same integral humanist idea in our country by Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay. I'm sure this conference will help in exploring both ideas. Maritain's idea is new to us, most of us. But it is not so very new in the Western world. Every pope quoted him in his speeches, including the latest pope. Not the latest, the one before. He was a renowned personality there in their culture, in their religious system. We also, of course, use the Deendayal Ji Manavad here. So it's always very educative, very, very enlightening to study the process that is happening there, the way they are trying to address this challenge of materialism, challenge of man domination, dominant individualistic cultures, how they are trying to address it, as Professor Singh mentioned earlier. Jacques Maritain's philosophy has actually fortified the idea of Christian democracy, although Christian democracy existed in the 19th century itself. Before Jacques Maritain itself, Christian democracy as an idea existed. But what actually provided the actual wherewithal for that ideology was Jacques Maritain's integral humanism. Today, Christian democratic movements are very powerful. In the European Parliament, EPP, European Parliamentary Party, is the strongest party, and it is run by Christian democratic leadership. They are all integral humanists of Jacques Maritain variety. So there is a school of thought there which also believes in something probably akin to what we believe. Why not look at it? Why not try to understand it? That academic exercise should happen. I'm sure this conference will try to do that. But I only make a couple of humble submissions before I close. In all humility, we should give up our smugness. Smugness in this sense. हमको तो सब कुछ मालूम है, वो बाकी लोग वर्ग गधे हैं. ऐसा नहीं है. As I said, idea has no boundary. हम spiritual लोग हैं. Spiritualism existed there also. That spiritualism may be different because that whole idea of religion, God, divinity was different from what we look at. But Jacques Maritain's philosophy talks about spiritualizing the society. It's all about spiritualism. What is that spiritualism? Try to understand. So, we should be open to understanding these ideas. Give up this whole obsession with ideologies. Open it up. In his lifetime, Jacques Maritain was subjected to scrutiny. One very important commentator has said finally that Jacques Maritain was a good religious leader, good philosopher, good human being, but a bad political fellow. Accept it. Yes, he didn't understand politics. If you read his that long article on integral humanism, you realize that he didn't know much about politics. But still he had an idea. Fortunately, in Deendayalji's case, Deendayalji was a philosopher but also a politician. He built a party for 15, 17 years. So he knew about politics. So probably he had better explanation about how state should function, how humans should play in the state better. But Deendayalji's integral humanist ideas, economic ideas, may be subjected to scrutiny today. They may not be very relevant today. Some of them can be challenged. For that matter, Gandhi's economic ideas can be challenged. That India lives in villages. When did India live in villages? Was Ayodhya a village? Professor Sinha sir comes from Patna. Was Pataliputra a village? India's kingdoms always nourished city civilizations. We are not just village people. We had villages, but we had very well-developed city cultures also. All our kingdoms, from Tanjavur in South India to Pataliputra here to Orissa to everywhere, we had cities. But we started believing that India means villages. Economic models have to be scrutinized. Are we open for that? You elevate something to a level where you cannot question, you can never do any comparative studies. You can never get deeper into those philosophies and make them contemporizing. I mean, they should be relevant for today's thought. So first is, we must come out of that smugness that we are superior and all others are inferior. I'm sure this conference will definitely help us. Finally, it's not so helpful in getting stuck in this semantics of language. मैं सुनता हूँ हमारे परिवार में बहुत बहस चलता है. क्या है? ये एकात्म मानववाद है, दर्शन है. Whether it is integral humanism or human something. भाई, वाद, the root is with. With root से विद्या आई, with root से वेद आया. वाद कैसे खराब हो गया? And how is ism not good, but something else is good? I mean, we are very romantic people, by nature. Indians are very romantic. We are very agitated over these things. I have nothing else. I am not a language expert. I am not a linguist. So a linguist can have many articles written about, or long articles written about these aspects. But for normal scholars, instead of getting into this, whether it is a vad or a darshan, a ism or not, You know, Christianity is called Christianity in English. But if I am not wrong, in France, Christianismo. It's called ism also. And I know in the British literature, Hinduism used to be called Hindudom. It was called Hindudom. So instead of getting stuck in these peripherals, although important, we have to get into the substance. Our problem is we are too romantic, we are too smug, we are stuck in these externals. अब हमारा तो ultimate सूत्र बता दिया गया है, it is our final ideology. Don't do any work on that. Then secondly, decide that, if at all you have to work on whether it is was or not. इस पर लिखो, भाई उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? लिखो तो सब्सटेंस पर, लिखो द क्वेश्चन ऑफ लिबर्टी पर. तो इन इश्यूज पर हमारा और काम होना आवश्यक है. आई एम श्योर प्रोफेसर सिंह साहब चेयर विल definitely promote such kind of studies, comparative or otherwise, so many studies into the topics like integral humanism. I took this opportunity to slightly deviate from the theme to give a slightly different perspective. I hope I have not offended anybody here. With all due respects to all elders and professors here, I end my presentation. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for this deep intellectual acumen of yours, and also for laying the foundation and delineating the contours about the ideational prospects of this conference. Sir, many of the young scholars who are sitting here are the regular reader of your column Ram Raj in Indian Express, and I'm also one of them. And today I had the opportunity to listen you in real, and many of us are listening you for the first time in real, and I must say that we all are really fortunate. Thank you so much, sir, for this. Now, moving ahead in the program, I request Chair of the session, Professor Arun Kumar Singh, Registrar, Banaras Hindu University, to please provide the chair's remark. With a big round of applause, please welcome Professor Arun Kumar Singh.
Dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Ram Madhav ji, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe ji, Professor T.P. Singh Sahab, coordinator of this chair, respected teachers, colleagues, research scholars, and other participants. Initially, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe ji has very aptly examined the name of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji, linking it with the poors. He also tried to see the root of sustainable development in Sanatan Dharma. We have a richa in Rigved, Dyo Pitana Putro Aham Prithivya, and I consider it as the seed of the sustainable development. Dr. Ram Madhav ji has given a different perspective on integral humanism in a holistic manner. And I believe in the 2 days discussion and churning, some new ideas and thoughts will come, and the chair will be benefited with that. So, integral humanism as a philosophical and political concept finds expression in the works of thinkers from diverse cultural and ideological backgrounds. Here we aim to compare the integral humanism articulated by Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji, a prominent figure in Indian political thought, and Jacques Maritain, a French Catholic philosopher. Despite the contextual and cultural differences between their perspective, both thinkers share a commitment to the holistic development of human beings within the framework of a just and harmonious society. Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, a key thinker of Indian tradition, developed the concept of integral humanism in the context of post-independence India. India rooted in Indian cultural and spiritual traditions, his integral humanism emphasizes the integration of material progress with spiritual and ethical values. He aims to appeal to broad sections of Indian society by presenting an indigenous Indian model that puts the human being at the center. According to Deendayal Upadhyay, body, mind, intelligence, and the soul are the four pillars that make up an individual, which are all integrated. We cannot think of each part separately. The concept of integral humanism, as developed by Deendayal Upadhyay, looks upon life as an integrated whole. Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay floated a concept of Chit, which describes the values that constitute the nation. According to him, Chit is the soul of the nation. He emphasized the importance of cultural nationalism and the preservation of India's rich heritage in shaping a holistic human existence. Additionally, Deendayal Upadhyay's integral humanism promotes the idea of a decentralized and self-reliant economy, where local communities play a crucial role in decision-making process and development initiatives. This vision aligns with the principle of Antyodaya, focusing on the upliftment of the last person in the queue. He argued that economic development should not be pursued at the expense of social and cultural values, emphasizing the need for a balanced and harmonious approach. Within the context of Western philosophy, Jacques Maritain, a Catholic philosopher and political theorist, contributed significantly to the development of integral humanism. Influenced by Thomistic philosophy, Maritain sought to reconcile the principles of classical philosophy with Christian theology. His integral humanism places human dignity at its core, emphasizing the intrinsic worth and rights of every individual. He understood humanism as inseparable from civilization or culture, these two words being themselves taken as synonymous. Many of the most important Christian democrats of the past century were deeply influenced by Martin's thought. Martin's vision of integral humanism incorporates a commitment to social justice and the common good. He advocates for a society where political structures are aligned with ethical principles, fostering an environment where individuals can flourish spiritually, morally, and intellectually. Martin's influence extends to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, reflecting his commitment to the recognition and protection of human dignity on a global scale. His concept of integral humanism has had a great influence on the whole Christian democratic movement in Europe and Latin America. While Upadhyay and Maritain approach integral humanism from distinct cultural and religious perspectives, several common themes emerge. Both thinkers reject reductionist views of human nature that prioritize materialistic concerns over spiritual and ethical dimensions. They advocate for a society where economic progress is not divorced from moral values, recognizing the importance of ethical considerations in shaping public policies. Furthermore, both highlight the significance of decentralization and common good in governance. Whether rooted in the Indian concept of Sahasrabudhe or the Catholic principle of common good, both integral humanisms underscore the importance of empowering local communities and individuals in decision-making processes. The comparative analysis of integral humanism, as articulated by Deendayal Upadhyay and Jacques Maritain, reveal the universality of certain principles despite the cultural and religious diversity of their context. Both thinkers offer valuable insights into the promotion of human dignity, ethical governance, and the integration of material and spiritual dimensions in the pursuit of a just society. As the world grapples with contemporary challenges, the idea of Deendayal Upadhyay and Jacques Maritain continues to inspire reflections on the shared values that can guide humanity toward a more integral and harmonious future. So with these words, I hope the next 2 days will be highly constructive in churning the ideas and coming up with some new thoughts. I once again thank Professor Singh for inviting me in the 2-day international conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for Chair's remark. Sir has wonderfully built up the backdrop of this conference. Now, with this, we have come to end of the formal part of this inaugural session. But yes, continuing in the program, now I would like to request Dr. Ram Madhav, President, India Foundation, to present souvenir to all the dignitaries present on the dais as a token of gratitude and as a token of memories. Please give a big round of applause. I request Dr. Ram Madhav ji to present souvenir to Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe. Now I request Dr. Ram Madhav ji to present souvenir to Chair of the session, Professor Arun Kumar Singh. And now I request Dr. Ram Madhav ji to present souvenir to our very own Professor Pratap Singh, Coordinator, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Chair, Banaras Hindu University. Now we are heading towards the end of this program, and so I would like to thank all the dignitaries present on the dais for their presence, for the enlightening addresses that thrilled this intellectual gathering. I am thankful to the presence of all illuminaries of academia, distinguished scholars, all the delegates and doctoral fellow, and I'm especially grateful to the wonderful audience we have. Thanks a lot for all of this and to all of you. But before I formally wind up, I have 2 announcements to make and 1 request to make. The first announcement is that after this intellectual session, the tea break is waiting for all of you. So make yourself relax with it. And another, the tea break is going to be for 30 minutes, from 4:30 to 5. And after the tea break, the plenary session of this conference is going to be held. And the theme for the plenary session is Integral Humanism of Deendayal Upadhyay and Jacques Maritain, a comparative study. So after tea break, please do come and listen the intellectuals and wonderful luminaries of academia in this plenary session.